Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Put Paint on It with me, Scary, your grateful host. And for some reason, this is being really ridiculous right now. Hold on 1 second. Oh man, I'm sorry about that, folks. Okay, we're back. We are continuing our coverage here of how to paint Drazar and his incubi. So I hope you guys are ready for this. This is a daily stream that I've been doing every single day on Twitch during this COVID pandemic. And you are welcome to tune in every day and hang out with me and paint from 11 a.m. to about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Twitch, we usually go and raid Alfarius, the Hydra, who is continuing painting on his Twitch channel after I'm done here. So you basically get like 4 hours of painting or 5 hours of painting worth 4 hours of painting every day just because we're hanging out together. Now, if you missed the first tutorial where we were starting to paint Drazar and his incubi, so now we get to kind of work on the rest of them. Essentially, Drazar is one of my favorite miniatures. I'm really excited to kind of get him done. As you can see, getting some work on him here. So far, the paints I have used. Good morning, the War Mistress and Eglin. Welcome. So I've been using Vallejo Warlord Purple for the blades. I've used Army Painter Skeleton Bone for the Wraithbone stuff. I've used Crusted Sore from the Army Painter for the red, so like the little red plant vine things, and most of the as a base for the gemstones. I've also used Matte Black from Army Painter as like a to fill out a lot of those like little holes and stuff in my priming. Hello, Djibouti. Good morning. How's it going? And I've also used what is it? Where are you? I've used Skaven Blight Dinge for the base from Games Workshop Citadel Paints, and I've also used a gray, uniform gray. That's the gray I've used for Drazar's sort of like face, and is one of the colors I'll be using for the highlights and whatnot when it comes to highlighting the miniature. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Oh, and the green. I used Caliban Green, a base color for the green that I've been using on some of the little frilly things and whatnot. So, you know, this is a project that's coming on together. I'm using this incubi that I had done before as like a base. That's like my old metal incubi. They've all sort of come out like this. This is the Clavex of that squad. So I'm kind of using it as a base point to kind of work with. And then from there, we will be doing the rest of the incubi. Good morning, Matt, Sebastian, welcome. Red Badger, Garbanzo Bean Donut, Archon Prankster, hello, good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in once again to the crazy antics of Archon Scary and his roundabout Kalamazoo, or something like that. Okay, there was an ant in there for some reason. Okay. Let's get this party on the road, shall we? Okay. Now, what's the next paint I need to really work on? So I'm still trying to figure out what color I want to do for this. And I'm thinking I'm going to change this to the gray and white that I'm going to be using for his faceplate, which means I might change most of his little frilly things to that gray. And maybe even his whole like big thing into like a white gray. So I want to keep it simple. I don't want to overcomplicate the model. I want to try keep it as simple as possible. Archon Prankster, thanks for the gifted sub to the War Mistress on Twitch. That's very nice of you. Keeping the hobby community together. And if you have any questions and you're in the chat, It could be hobby related, it could be life related, it could be painting related. Finally committed to a diamond pattern on my Harlequins. The first leg. Hey, if you get the hang of it, it's actually really neat. Like once you get a hang of them, they actually look really cool. I'm a big fan of Harlequin pattern legs, which is really neat. Oh, come on. That's like the second time I dropped that paint. What in the heck is wrong with me? Silly Scary. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Right under my table. Right under my table. Right out of reach, I think. For my feet, at least. Nope. Can't reach it with my hands. Oh, man. Well, better make this last until... You know what? No, I'm going to grab it. Very, very noisy. That's right. Where in the world did it go? That's not where it went at all. It like bounced around. I have no idea where it went. Oh, let me get the Trueborn to help. Hey, Ollie, can you look under my table over there and see if you see one of these, please, on that side? One of the benefits.
I see a plug.
No, it's one of these little bottles. It's on the floor somewhere over there, and I can't see it. No, down. It's probably under my table. It's probably under my table.
No, it isn't.
No? Where in the world did it go? Oh, it's right behind me. Okay, never mind. Thank you for looking, mister.
And just so you know, look how that Charizard is so cool.
I know, thank you. Say hi to everybody on the camera. The Misery 802, thank you for the follow. I know it's pretty neat, eh? Okay, I'm going to start painting it, though.
Almost done?
It's got a little bit of work left.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool, though, right? Excuse you, mister. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of water down on this this gray paint.
On him?
Yeah. I think I'm going to do his big...
Wait, can I just grab the old Dreader to show the difference?
Well, I think we can show them later in a picture, okay, Ollie?
No.
Let's just... Ollie? Gracias, guapo. Okay, let's get this party on the road. The Red Badger says hello, Ollie. War Mister says hello, Ollie.
Hi.
Yeah, it'll be well shaken.
Wait, what time is it?
It is 11:11.
11.
Okay, gracias, guapo.
Okay.
I love you, buddy.
Love you.
See you in a bit.
Bye. Make sure to follow him.
Thank you. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Trueborn. Make sure you check out the battle report I did with the Trueborn on Age of Sigmar, the Age of Sigmar battle report that we did together. It is definitely a well worth little battle report. If you just want to pass the time, his elves faced off against my Tomb Kings for the second time, and of course, you know, it was an epic battle of epic proportions with lots of things happening. Sebastian says, hey, I have a question. I like questions, thank you. I just started Drukhari. Congratulations, you have picked the best army in all of 40k. Lore-wise, model-wise, game-wise. No, I'm just kidding. Good job. I can't decide between witch cults or homunculus covens. Pros cons would help coming from the master. You flatter me, but flattery, as I have said, gets you nowhere in the Dark City. You know, you will get stabbed in the back as soon as your back is turned. Just saying. Just saying. Well, pros and cons. So, Coven is probably the more popular because it is more durable. And in a mission format, especially like ITC, where, you know, you kind of are rewarded for not dying, Coven tends to be just better competitively if you're looking for competition. I like the Witch Cult a lot because it is very user-friendly in terms of tactically friendly for people. So for tactically inclined is what I mean to say, not like tactically friendly. It's actually really hard to use witch cults properly. But what it does is they give you a lot of tools when you're using the Witch Cult. Combat is one of the most powerful phases in the game because you have so much control over things like movement, engagement, you know, things like that. And I feel a lot of people underestimate the power of the fight phase and the charge phase. So, not that Coven doesn't use the fight phase as well, it's just like things like tying up a unit in close combat with a unit of witches is incredibly powerful. And I feel a lot of people don't take advantage of that as one of the biggest strengths. You know, I've had entire games where most of my army ends up in a blob in a combat, away from the opponent's ability to deal with me, because, you know, I tied up like a little scout squad, and I've got, you know, all my raiders and my ravagers and, you know, a squad of witches or whatever tying up this little scout squad, and my opponent can't actually shoot anything in my army because I've literally tied up all of my units in close combat, making it impossible for my opponent to deal with them. So I use the charge phase, and that's what witch cults are for. However, cons is like witch cults are super fragile, and they will die super fast. So yeah, there's that. There is that. Hey Alfarius, what's going on? Good morning, Kyle. Hello, welcome. Hello, Heckes, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Hope that answers your question, Sebastian. You know, in a sense, like there's just the pros and cons fluctuate also depending on what else you've put in your list, right? So if you put in stuff to support the witch cult, then the cons become less, right? If you put in some stuff to support the coven, the cons become less and the pros become more. But you have to have with either or, you have to have a very clear understanding of what it is you want to achieve out of that unit. So, Roxy Derivator says, "Oh my gosh, I love the color commentator." Oh, thank you. Thanks for, like the commentator of me while I'm painting? Like, is that how this works? Still trying to figure out the right place to like hold this so that you guys can see everything I'm doing while it still stays in angle and I get to show off what I'm working on without getting in the way of myself. Now, I will say though, painting this after I glued it, I knew it was a bad idea, but that's okay. You have to get creative with how to get to these little parts of the model that you can't really get to normally. Usually it's using a weird brush, getting around to it. You know, the washes help. Like once you do the washes, it'll sort of like pan out in a sense. There we go. Also, Kyle told me to tell you that you're a weedy git. Well, thanks. I am a weedy git. I appreciate that, Kyle. Sebastian said, "You have answered my question. Thank you." You are very welcome. I also tried to get more light on so you can kind of see what it is that I am actually working on here, instead of like randomly trying to figure out what's going on. So it's okay to like paint something and then change your mind and be like, I want to change the color or whatever, and that's completely fine. The reason I do that sometimes is just because, there we go. Sometimes you just have a color scheme that you have in mind, or you're trying to do something and then you realize, you know what, it doesn't really work. So one of the biggest reasons, is I like to do like a little bit of a model, and then especially if it's like a key model like this, and sit overnight. So I did some of the color yesterday, didn't like commit too hard to it, but I did some of the color yesterday and then I let it sit overnight, and then I come back and kind of re-evaluate whether or not that's kind of what I wanted to achieve with the model. I said, you know what, the green, it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't work. So I'm going to change it for more like colder colors other than orange, which I guess will be a color that's not cold. It's like a more warm, unless I put gray in with the orange and make it a colder orange. But yes, colors can be warm and cold depending on how you mix them or apply them. My goal is to have this guy painted up and ready to rock and roll. Okay, so I kind of like that better. I think having the swirly thing in that color helps. And then I'm probably going to, I have the, I'm not sure if I should do all the frills in gray too. Might as well. Kind of helps break up the whole model here. There's no point in being overly colorful with a model like Drazar. Drazar's supposed to be brooding and pretty mean, pretty nasty when it comes to just being alive in general. Does that work? I think that works. Okay, Red Badger says, I personally only played Witches in 8th once. They were amazing at tying up Custodies and even ground them over a few turns, never allowing them to fall back. Carnier says, I've been running a 120 Bloodletter list. Had some success until quarantine. It's running okay on Tabletop Simulator. What do you think of the concept? I think the concept is like good. It's interesting. You know, I like out of the box thinking when it comes to lists, and running a list that is a bunch of, you know, Bloodletters is definitely out of the box thinking. You know, because a lot of people plan for, you know, the Space Marine army that they have to deal with, or this army, or that army. Then running into the meta with something that's completely off meta, like 120 Bloodletters, a lot of people don't really know how to handle it sometimes. However, you do have to be careful when you're running a skew list like that. You just tend to have some really bad matchups. So you just have to have a plan for when you run in to bad matchups. Don't mind gluing a model then completing. It also means a couple of touch-ups, but no big. True. Reek the Forgotten says, is playing Warhammer on Tabletop Simulator hard to set up? The initial setup is what takes the longest, and it's because you have to make an army. So you get Tabletop Simulator, which is like 11 to 20 bucks on Steam, which isn't terrible for a game, right? And then you have to basically find and subscribe to like the modules that you're going to be using. And these workshop modules are like fan-made, you know, art, essentially, that represents the miniatures for the game. And then when you subscribe to them, you basically get to save them, and then you have to like pull the models out, put them together, save them as like a file, and then you have an army ready to rock and roll. So it can be a little challenging to just do all that setup. There are a few videos on YouTube that let you or help you with that. And then I've just, because I've been on it, I've learned a couple of little tips and tricks for Tabletop Simulator as well, which has been good. It has been good to practice and try and stuff like that. It doesn't replace the actual game, nowhere near replacing the actual game. However, it's nice to have like an outlet is what I want to call it, you know. Okay, have you played Warhammer Underworlds? I have not played Warhammer Underworlds Djibouti. However, I do know a few people who have been playing Warhammer Underworlds, and they enjoy it a lot. I believe that's like the Shadespire stuff, right? That's literally what that's called. Well, that was like the first edition with Shadespire, and it was something else and something else. I just know it as Shadespire, even though that's technically only the first edition of the game, because they do switch it up more frequently than most, being that they want to keep it like hyper competitive. As long as it scratches the itch for now, 100%. Reek. You know, I feel like if you haven't tried it so far, you probably should just give it a spin. You know, it definitely doesn't have to replace your Warhammer 40,000 game. You know, like in general, because first of all, it's, you know, I believe it's not IP license, which means, you know, it's all fan based and stuff, which I guess it's like Creative Commons or whatever, but they're literally infringing on GW like IP. So who knows how long it'll last? Because they cracked down on Vassal like pretty heavily back in the day. I'm pretty sure I remember. So then finding like the modules for 40k was a little harder. Then again, that was also before GW became a little bit more understanding of what's going on. So I could see them like being okay with people kind of using it for now, and then later kind of getting involved with shutting it down. We'll see how that goes. And I have a actual, if you guys want to watch me play a game this Thursday or tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have my next televised match for Tabletop Simulator. I'm playing Kyle, who's running a really cool Iron Hands with tank commanders and Admech Scorpius Disintegrator list, essentially. Which is pretty cool. Ah, there you go. I kind of like that color a little better. Kind of shows off a bit more. Eduardo Paredes asks, what are you going to do with the old Drazar? Well, he'll just be a part of my collection. You know, what else am I going to do with him? You know, it's not like I, you know, throw him out or anything. Like, he's still going to be part of my collection. He's going to be sitting there looking pretty. You know, I might pull him out every once in a while when I'm doing like a classic, you know, classic on classic action. Drazar, the Master of Blades, versus Old School Farsight. Begin. You know, or something like that. So here I am. I'm basically retracing a lot of the stuff that I did yesterday. Essentially, simply because I'm changing the color of that whole part of him. But I'm okay with that change, simply because I feel it just suits the model better. It's okay to switch things up if you don't like exactly where your model is going. It's better to switch it up halfway through than at the end when you've completed the model and then not be completely 100%. Although I try not to be a complete perfectionist. You know, I know that this process is not perfect for me. I'm not trying to be perfect. What I am trying to do is create a model that is pleasing to me when I play it. Sebastian Nadeau says, is Lilith worth it? Not sure I spelled it right. It doesn't matter how you spell it. Everybody knows who Lilith is if you're a Dark Eldar player. She is awesome. Like, when you do run her and you build a list around her, she's like what Drazar used to be. And having a combination of her and Drazar in a list would be like two very killy characters joining forces together to go around and murder stuff, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I'm actually considering putting her in to my list, my Raider-based list, because I had a really good suggestion on dropping one of the Archons, moving Drazar over to the Cabal detachment, and then using the points to basically add in a Succubus into my mixed detachment. I was like, well, if I'm going to put in a Succubus, I might as well put in like a Lilith Hesperax or something, who has the ability to do like a whole bunch of different stuff, you know, and she's like really massive, right? Get out of here, little bug. Maybe use him as an incubi. Yeah, I could maybe use him as like a Clavex or whatever. I did put him on a big base, so he's a little different than normal in that sense. Would you be in favor of turn resolutions like Apocalypse in 40k? Well, you know, when Apocalypse did come out, like a lot of the times, GW uses these like quote expansions to test out like things they want to try in the game, and like I wouldn't be against it. At the same time, it would definitely be a dynamic change, right? Like, you know, you're using a lot less dice, it would speed up the game. But they did sort of like probably test the waters, and it is definitely different. Like, you know, like I've seen you can play like a 2,000 point Apocalypse game if you want to play with the mechanics. So, you know, it means you can play like a small game relatively quickly, and or like a large game relatively quickly with the new rules if you really, really wanted to. I don't think anybody would like hold it against you. However, most people are just set in their ways. They don't really like change. You know, there was a lot of resistance when there's a lot of resistance when new rules come out in general. Changing the rules that drastically would be crazy. However, I don't feel it would be as crazy to assume that they might put in a you move a unit, I move a unit, or you move a detachment, I move a detachment, right? You know, I could see them filtering that in some way into the game. Just because I could see them doing that. My stomach is like growling like crazy. It's like non-stop growling today. I had breakfast. I had, you know, I had a piece of cake. It was delicious. Love cake. So it's not like my stomach is empty. So I don't know why it keeps on growling. It's like grr, grr. And it was doing this yesterday too, just like growling consistently. I don't know. Maybe it's all this isolation getting to my stomach, being like just tossing it around in different ways. Silly stomach. Eduardo Paredes says that's actually a good idea. He could be a Clavex. Yeah, he could be. Vassal Stefan, hello, how's it going? Venatusis, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Twitch stream, to the Twitch page. Thanks for the follow. Oh, you know what I haven't done? I haven't played my music. Silly me. I literally have like crazy dance music that I like playing when I don't have to put the music on, or when I don't put the music on. Because normally if we're on Twitch, I'll put the music on and we'll be listening to music together. Today you get the beauty of my voice while I sort of show you how to paint this Drazar model. So as you can see, I am doing a second coat. And these have been two very watered down coats, but they're designed to just get the paint on there and just, you know, not be too overly complicated. Just like that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. All it has to do is hashtag just put paint on it, which is the motto of my show. of our community here on Twitch. Because if you have any issues in life, you can hashtag just put paint on it, folks. That's right. It is a lifestyle, a solution to your problems. That's what I say. Mwah, 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 mwah. My stomach is distracting me. It's literally like grumbling, but I could also hear it probably because I wasn't playing music, and it's like grumble, grumble, grumble. Okay, so I've done like the first initial gray on there. I actually like it a little better. It kind of brought down the the tonality of the model, as you can see there. It just kind of darkens the model up a little bit, which is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want him to be too bright, so I wanted to be able to show him. Hello, Henrik. Hakuna Matata. Exactly. Matt Vindicavi does have a question. Thank you for the question, Matt. What point level do you find the most interesting to play at? For 40k, I find 1500 points is the most engaging, most fun, most entertaining, and most engaging point level to play at. 1500 points. Why? Well, because you can't bring all your toys at 1500 points. I think that is a huge part of learning how to play 40k. It's having all these things to pick from, and then having to sort of bring your expectations and narrow them down to something that'll work for you specifically, essentially. Putting paint on my palette, cleaning from my Grey Knights army for Coop War Grown Tau. Cool. Changing from Grey Knights to Tau, eh? Hello, Mole Security. How are you? Good morning. Anyone bothering you, buy circus makeup and just put paint on them. 100%. That's how that works. I use the model as a regular succubus, and I agree. She's silly scrawny even for an elf. Who? I am channeling my Bob Ross, by the way. Red Badger. 1,500 points today is basically like 2,000 points in 6. It's ridiculous how cheap everything has gone point-wise. Well, 100%. Ooh, Master Light Curl. Okay. Let's drink another sip of my coffee. By the way, this is a mug that my son painted. As you can see, it is Luigi. This is one of my favorite mugs. Endless memories. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a dark gray. And we had already done all the studs in brown. We've done basically a light gray on all the stuff we want to be light gray. The only other thing we have to do is, well, I should probably do purple on the little drug dispenser cables. Hold on, let me do that. Actually, that'd be a good idea to get that out of the way. But I agree. It's really funny. I had this Dark Eldar list that when I started playing Dark Eldar in 2010. This was the first big tournament I went to with my Dark Eldar. The doubles, well, one of the main tournaments at the War Masters. We won best generals. We were 2 points away from best overall. This is 2000. That's 10 years ago now. Holy moly! But I had started playing Dark Eldar, I want to say 12 years ago. So maybe a year or so before that event. No, because I went to the War Masters before. Yeah, so I want to say 2 years that I started playing Dark Eldar. So 2008, 2007, and my list that I ran back then, I actually found it. I was going through paperwork the one day, and I found my list. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And it was an Archon on a jet bike, which back then, Archons could go on jet bikes. And let me tell you, they were little killing machines of doom. They were absolutely incredible. Which is why when we lost the jet bike option in the new codex, I was so sad. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway. So, what happened with that was I had that on Archon, so 1 HQ, that was it. Then I had 2 elites, so I had the 2 units of witches, and they were 5 to 8 man witch units. But witches used to be elites. They weren't troops, they were elite choices back then. And then I had 2 units of Kabalite warriors, and then the Kabalites and the witches were in raiders, so I had 4 raiders, and I had 3 ravagers, and I had a small unit of Reaver jet bikes. Back then, that was like 1,700 points or something, which is like the tournament level that we all used to play at back then, at least here in Canada. And it was hilarious to see because I counted all that point up. I was like, okay, cool. And I did it in the new points, and it was like 1,200 points. I was like, this is incredible. So it's funny how a lot of my list choices right now sort of mimic some of the list choices that I made back in the day, to be fair. Archon and Jetbike. I missed the customization option of the good old days. Oh yeah, not only that, but he had access to his combat drugs, and those made him a little beatstick. Like demon princes were scared of this guy because he would go in and like hopped up on drugs and stuff. Oh man! And then the shadow field has always been just as annoying as it is now. So back then, if you failed it, you didn't instant die. You just lost it. I mean, you lost it as soon as you failed it, same as you do nowadays. But you only like instant died if you got hit by, you know, something that was double your toughness, which I guess was a lot of stuff. Oh, the big DZ. Oh, yes. The big Drazah right here. And Ghoul, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to Isolation Station. This is actually day 24 of us hanging out from isolation together. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been making this time go by faster and who's been just trying to stay sane out there. And keeping everybody real. You know, this is the kind of stuff that, you know, we're going to be telling our grandkids about, right? Funniest game I ever played was 2nd edition Dark Eldar. Guys, Archon OD'd. Yeah, yes. ODing was an actual thing your Archon could do. The way combat drugs worked, you basically picked from a list of things that you could do with the drugs. So you could like get extra attacks or get better strength or attack, like have higher initiative or charge farther, like get a charge bonus essentially, or, you know, get a whole bunch of stuff. And they were dangerous. Oh man, good times. How I miss those times. I really do. That Archon just would kill an entire unit of tactical marines by himself. Just like straight up. And he was like 130 points, which was decently, it was about right for a character back in his day. But like you didn't need anything else. And his bike made him like super fast. And oh man, it was crazy. Once I had an Archon hold up an Avatar Kane from once again. Oh, I know. Because Archons used to be badass, especially when they could go on a freaking, and you could give them like incubi gear, so they were like higher strength and, you know, the biggest thing was that jet bike because it gave him better toughness and gave him like an extra gun. And oh man, such good times. Good old drug dispensers. Good old drug dispensers. Yeah, but what about you guys? Is there an iconic miniature that you wish we still had from back in, you know, 3rd and 4th edition? I know most of you guys might remember that. Some of you guys are brand new, babies to the game who, you know, remember nothing of this. And then we kind of have like all these cool stories, and you're like, oh man, I don't remember when that was the case. Remember when characters used to join units? Yeah, that used to be a thing. Characters used to join units. That's not a thing anymore. Oh no. Good morning, TV Robbie. What is going on? How's it going? Hopefully you are having a fantastic, well, I guess it's what, 3 a.m. where you are at in Australia. That's right. Angles says, so glad they don't join units in the same. That was always janky no matter what you do. Yeah, that is true. Like, I kind of like the whole, you know, independent character actually being independent and running around and being their own unit. That was actually one of the things I enjoyed from, like, Age of Sigmar to 40k that they kind of ported over when the game, when 8th edition came out. I was actually quite pleased at that change. So I was like, that makes sense. That's a change that, on a personal level, makes sense. You know? Of course, they kind of fixed it over time, so it wasn't like as silly, because before early 8th edition, like, armies of characters became, like, crazy, because you couldn't, like, shoot anybody. Except the closest character, which just happened to be a Calexis assassin or something silly. And they were, like, literally immune. Bring back the dice, says Matt. Still have the model. Just let me have rules. That's true. I actually wrote some rules for the Patreons. So you can actually download a set of rules for the Dice of Destruction from my Patreon page. Because I have a dice too, and I wanted to use it in a game, so I made rules for it. But I also have the model. It was literally sitting in my, like, ever since back then, like 2010, that Vect model was sitting on my bits, like, pile of shame. I finally got around to doing it when I started doing the streaming. You know, it was one of those models that I just had lying around. I was like, you know what I should paint? I should paint Vect. You know? And it's just been, it was great. I'm so glad that I did. Man, something I will say about this paint, by the way, lasts for freaking ever. The pigmentation on this is so good that you could, like, water it down and make, like, 10 times more than you actually need, and it's like, it just goes on and on and on, which is just incredible. Da, 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 da. Another thing that I like doing is we are going to be doing the eyes and stuff in this color. Da, 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 da. Painting Vect. What arrogant Archon. Yeah, I know. Like, Vect is the jerk. Like, in terms of, like, the lore and stuff, he is a jerk face. You do not want to know Vect. He's just a dick. Okay. I like Hide Nose, Gargoyles, Sizing Talons. Oh yeah, man, there's so many good units out there that are, like, just forgotten to the universe from back in the day, right? That's right. I remember the pain train, the pain token markers, where instead of power from pain, which is the bonus you got, you had to kill units to get bonuses. I remember that a lot. That was super fun. The pain train is what I used to call it, because I'd have like, you know, a little train of little tokens that would like follow the model, the unit, and be like the pain train. You can actually see battle reports with me using the pain train back in the day, which is super funny. Okay, awesome. So now I've done some of the more of the pink stuff. This is definitely going to be taking a little bit of time. So now a color that I really like using is called XV88, which is one of my favorite colors. Where are you? Did I run out of it? No, here it is, hiding back here. Look at you being a hiding jerk. So XV88, and I use this a lot for things like straps and stuff like that. So I'm going to be using XV88 now instead of the purple. It's a GW paint. I'm going to be using it for little straps and, you know, knots and little wristbands and things like that. And I'll probably, well, we'll see what happens with this, but yeah. Well, he always used to say he owes his feet to, yeah, me. Came to a war between Malice and Vect. Whose side Arkham would Skari choose? Vect. Vect would win. Vect is Vect. Like, brush Malice off. And Vect would just stab everybody in the back. Or he'd send one of his many body doubles. And he would just be like, let them all kill themselves. Think that I'm dead. I'll return. Like, it's like Vect is a mean mofo. You don't stay in power in the Dark City for thousands of years by being like a pushover. Like, he literally, one of his biggest rivals in Shaddam or whatever was like, you know, playing with psychic powers and demonic incursions. The guy literally warped, like, phased in a giant spaceship right, like, on top of his castle, and then had it, like, explode or some shit. And then there was a disjunction, and he just sealed off the portals and freaking, like, let the demons just, like, destroy the whole realm. Like, Vect is a dick. Vect is perfectly fair Dark Eldar. Very nice, cute character, says Valerie. No. Vect is just written as almost all-powerful within Karma. He won't ever be usurped. Oh, I know. Like, you know, he technically died and then came back to life, right? You know, he's like, I'm a muse now. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. I'm literally a muse. So you can't stop me. Which is understandable. Like, Vect is Vect. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. Bum 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 bum. And it's very subtle. Like, I'm not looking for crazy thing that pops. The thing I like to do is I like to paint in a style which I like to consider like pseudo realism. You know, where like if, you know, leather would be leather color, then I try and paint it leather. You know, like the color leather. You know what I mean? Malice does have the backing of Seg. I'm sure that Wily Clan has plans. True. Hard to tell whether Kegrax is using Malice to defeat Vect or keep him in power. It would be cool to get back Black Library story about Malice getting her crystal heart. That is also true. You know? There's so much lore within the Dark City. Like, you know, like the Path of the Archon and stuff just barely, you know, touches it. I love stories that kind of have to deal with like the way the Dark Eldar think. You know, when I want to read Jane's arc because apparently she, you know, hangs out with Vect a lot or whatever, has an interaction with Vect for a couple of cool little like interactions part of the story. But for example, in the book, the Inari book, right? The one that I just recently read, The Rise of the Inari or whatever it's called. Um, you know, they every time they kind of like talk about some of the like Dark Eldar, the Kabbalite or the Comorians or whatever they call them, like the former Drukhari from Comora, you know, how they think, you know, that a lot of them they meet like this old old craft world that has been lost for like ever or whatever before it like got lost in the warp or some shit, and it comes back, right? And it's it comes back, and it's really cool because they like when in their first meeting, like normally the Eldar just psychically communicate to for everything, right? And this old craft world wants like a face-to-face meeting, and they're like, face-to-face meeting, how archaic. And the Dark Eldar like, and then they kind of say how that's more akin to the Dark Eldar who still hold on to the old ways like that, you know. Well, that's really funny how they have like the weird sense of honor, right? So it's a in a way that Craftworld that Eldar Craftworld has more in common with the Dark Eldar than with the Eldar. I thought it was really cool. There's lots of untapped story potential surrounding the Dark Eldar, says Red Badger. I agree. Jane's Hour was good. The Vex scene was amazing. Yeah, I really want to, like, I heard about it. I think that's one of the next books I want to read is that book. So I'm excited to pursue myself getting into that book and reading it out. So I'm hoping that's the case that I can soon. Well, considering we are in a quarantine, you know, so we'll see. Ah. Now the reason I kind of use this color is because it works really well as a base, and then you can really turn it into any other color you want. So as a base it works great. You can go for brown and do like a light brown and keep it very similar to what this color is, or you can turn it into like an off-white color, which is more than likely how I'm going to do it. But it is a warmer color, so it does sort of like draw the eye a little bit. We can see here you've got these two spots right here where you have these two like things, and then you've got the two little spots on the knees, but then that same color is going to be here and it's going to be on the back. I'm not sure what color to make these. We'll see. We shall see. That's the thing about painting a centerpiece like this. You can really kind of take your time and kind of gauge like what you want the piece to really sort of like speak to. Right? I love the Jane's R book brought the audience special edition. Can gift you the money for Jane's R? Can I gift you the money for Jane's R? Like the book? Yeah, absolutely. I can or is there a way to like gift an Audible thing? Have you ever heard of Elric of Melonbone? Melonbone? There's now graphic novels that show the Empire of Melonbone. It's pretty clear inspiration for Comran, the Dark Eldar elves. Oh, really? Well, that's cool. I have not heard of that before. Okay, so now I have all these like these straps and stuff from like all the stuff that he hangs off of his trophy rack, right? So you have like this Imperial Aquila. It's probably shit, which is probably a trophy from a Space Marine. One of the cool things about water paints is that you can literally put a lot of water on a model to dilute a mistake, and then use like a brush to soak up the water. And the mistake disappears. Ooh, I said it dry. Is Elric from Michael Moorcock? Moorcock. Audiobooks is such a great thing, yet through so many more books by listening while working. Well, that makes sense. Like the one audiobook actually my brother got me, I think for my birthday like a year ago, was the you know that crazy dwarf that they released in Age of Sigmar? What's his name? He's like a one-man wrecking ball. One dwarf wrecking machine. And there's a book where he comes back from, basically he comes back into the Age of Sigmar universe, and it's voiced by Mr. Small or whatever his name is. It's a fantastic audiobook. I really enjoyed listening to that. Took me a while to get used to like the voice acting, but it was excellent. It doesn't have to be perfect, but what I'm trying to do here is just create, like just make sure I'm picking out all these little details. And, as you get the model done, these little details, they pay off to have painted, but they don't have to like overtake the entire model. They're just, so when somebody picks up the model, they go, oh, cool, you painted all the little things. And you're like, yeah, I did. All the straps are painted. You know what I mean? Like the straps and the stuff that's being held here and there and whatnot. Then, baby, when the lights go out. Baby, when the lights go out. Oh, although I do find myself when I'm doing like detail like this to forget to breathe. So please remember to breathe when you're just putting paint on it, folks. Just take a deep breath here and there. Deep breath. I know that I like to keep it nice and still when I'm like doing a mega detail or something. Go Trek! Yeah. Heiko, how's it going? Yes, Go Trek. That's the guy who's Go Trek! And he just like wants to die. He's like, oh, you filthy elf! Rah, 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 rah. Let's see if you can kill me! Oh man, he's funny as hell. So funny. Like he literally wants to die so badly because he's a slayer, but he's like cursed that he just cannot. He cannot be beaten and he cannot die, and he hates it so much. Stephen Fry reads for BL. I don't think it was Stephen Fry that read him. No, it was what's his face, he was in like Flash Gordon and like all these big movies. He's played a couple of Shakespeare characters in movies as well. It's a giant beard, big guy. Woo! Oh man, these little details like that takes the longest to really kind of get them done, other than the lines. That dude is a beast in Sigmar. I've heard, he's like a quarter of your army, right? He's worth 30 models or whatever by himself, or 50 models by himself, but he's just slow as chips, I've heard. So he's just like a one-man wrecking ball, but he's like slow to get there. Gonna have to goad him to get there, or you skirt him or block him with stuff, I could see how he would be scary as all hell, though. He's definitely a good monster killer, that's for sure. So, now that we're doing all those little, spinny things, we also have these, like, inscriptions on the blades and little runes on his, little runes and stuff like that. Like, you could actually put this on the table, like, even like this, and play it. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough color on this model that you can kind of say, you know what, I've done some effort on it, and put it on the table and play with this model. But that's not what we're going for here. We're going for, like, a centerpiece model that's going to be, like, he's bigger, a lot bigger than he used to be, so it's harder to hide him from snipers, that's for sure. Brian Blessed. There you go, TV Robbie. Yes, Brian Blessed. Thank you so much. Yeah, Brian Blessed was Gotrek. That's who I was. Blessed. That's who I wanted to. That's who I was trying to remember. He was amazing as Gotrek. I freaking loved him. Correct. The best tactic is to run away, like a little counterintuitive my Khorne army, says Zach Singer. Yes. If you need to run away from Gotrek, you damn skippy run away. Drazar, there are snipers. Please stop standing on piles of rubble. Never! Actually, he wouldn't say anything. He would just nod ominously and continue walking forward, and then go cut down a few people. That's what Drazar does, you see. It's funny, because if you go watch the last bat rep that I did, so the last live stream that I did, where I, people were like, "Oh, he's gonna charge Drazar and he's gonna go murder these Sisters of Battle," and I was like, "Yeah, no, no, I'm not gonna. He's just gonna sit back there and act all excited, like I didn't want to kill the Sisters of Battle. You see, didn't want to kill all the sisters. I wanted to hold them in combat, so Drazar couldn't go in, so that the witches wouldn't kill them all, and then tie them up in close combat. Boom. Instant screen that you can't shoot off the table. A screen that's tied up in close combat. Yeah. Woo! I hope you guys have been enjoying. I hope you folks have been enjoying the stream so far. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. A shout out to all the people who have been just lurking in the shadows. Thank you very much. Even if you're not posting, you are still important, and I really appreciate all the support. I'll find my blood ties somewhere else, says Zach Singer. Correct. Yes, you will, because he's a little beatstick. I get that GW wanted him to stand out, but this is ridiculously high. Oh yeah, he's pretty tall. He's actually really big. I love him. He's a whirlwind of range, but no, I just have to be super careful when I'm dealing with he has to be super careful when I'm dealing with eliminators, I want to say. Drazar is the analog of Malekith. I really don't know anything about the lore. I've been spotted, puff of smoke. I wish he could just puff of smoke, be like, off I go, into the distance, says Drazar. No, Drazar wouldn't do that. He'd look at you and go, die, foul human beast, or something along those lines. Okay, let's do some washes. I want to kind of do a few washes on this guy. Let me just check to see. So something else is these over here. I'm not exactly sure what color. I think I should have done them gray as well, to be honest, just to keep it in the same vein. Never be alone. Drazar looking snazzy, little buddy. And trying to be consistent. So if I'm doing, you know, the little things that hold these straps to the armor in the same color, this thing that holds that like tassel thing, you know, have to make that the same color as well to keep a consistency within the model itself. Because I don't want to have to use too many colors when it comes to the model itself. Ooh. What color should I make those tassels? I'm thinking I should keep them red to kind of offset the red, because there's a lot of red here, right? So you've got the red on this area here. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the red crusted sore on there. Snazar! That's right, because he's snazzy. Actually, the incubi tend to be very silent and killy. Very true. Drazar's just killing, never talks, just murders. Yep. Skardkar sure is quiet. Red rules. Yeah. Yes, all the red in the world. Where is my crappy brush that I used to mix? There we go. Snazar. I guess we could use him. We could call him Snazar. Be like, hey, Snazar, what's going on, buddy? And he'd be like, what? Commander. I got the music flowing. So make sure you share what you've been working on stream. Leave a comment, leave a link. Let us know what you've been working on. It's really nice to see what the community is doing during this time of isolation. So if you have a cool project that you'd like to share with everybody, please do. I always like seeing what the community has been working on. It's always nice to see. So feel free to share it with the folks at home as well. Commander. So if you notice, the way that I've been holding this model, I move the model around. I don't really move my painting arm. So this arm here, the one that I'm using with the paintbrush, doesn't really move. I keep it at the same angle. And what I do is I move this model around a lot, which allows me not only to kind of try and get to the spots with ease that are hard for me to reach, but it keeps the strain down on my arms. It also means that I can use like my strokes are better and I don't have to worry about moving or, you know, messing it up as much, because my arm that I'm painting with doesn't really change, so it's consistent. The muscle memory is there. That's one of the things that I learned I want to say a couple of years ago, and ever since then my painting has really improved. So keeping one arm sort of like straight down and then using this arm to twist and turn and move and get the different angles that I need with the paint itself. Just something to keep in mind. Today is a slow day. Angle says, my gaunt summoner, some endless spells, and some demons to summon. That sounds like a nice combination of things to work on. Angle. Red Badger says, today's a slow day. Content with just watching the stream and relaxing. I'll paint again tomorrow. Good. You better paint again tomorrow. We will keep tabs on that. Steven says, working on a Tau stealth suit team, then back to Team 5 and 6 Grey Knight strike teams. Sounds like a fantastic number of things that you've been doing. By the way, we are 10 followers away from 1,500 followers on Twitch, which is amazing. So thank you very much, everybody, for sitting there watching and being a part of a Twitch community, as well as the Patreon, the YouTube, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook. You guys are all awesome. Okay. Let's do some more work on this guy. Just had to let that dry a little bit before I could do like another coat. Two thin coats are always better than one thick coat. It also kind of helps with the detail so you don't lose the detail, right? Now I like blocking out the colors. What I'm doing right now is essentially blocking out the colors. And then what we'll do is I'll be doing the first layer of highlights, and then I tend to do a wash over the entire miniature. And that's usually the thing that takes the longest, is washing the entire miniature, waiting for it to dry, and then I essentially do everything pretty much all over again in the same colors, because that gives me a free highlight without having to change the palette at all. So I can use the exact same colors, and I know washes are, you know, considered GW propaganda by some. Hydra, Alpharius. However, I like using them. Aleski, how's it going? Skari, if you have time, would you rate my Lilith and Drazar? Link above. Where's the link? Did you put a link? I didn't see a link. If you're on YouTube, you can always link something up or send me a message on like Facebook or Patreon, and I'll take a look at it. Okay, time to redo some of these gems to kind of get their color nice and in there, because the gems are going to be this red. I just need to make sure that these gems all get the same treatment. Oh no. Little bad girl. There we go. And this Drazar model is incredible. Thank you, Games Workshop, for making such a cool model. Imgur, YouTube. Aleski, yeah, you can. I'll take a look after. There might be like a link blocker on the YouTube stream. However, if you're on the Twitch stream, you can just quickly put it up on there. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much all the main blocks of colors, except for this little Aquila, which, by the way, I'm probably going to use a new color, and I rarely use metallics. I rarely use metallics on my Eldari, on any of my Eldar models. Why? Because I feel like metals are a little easy to paint, and I also feel that Dark Eldar, you know, would be above using metallics. as a civilization. They'd use alloys and stuff that are like completely like new and unknown to the mankind or whatever. So I kind of like the fact that, so when I do like a metallic thing, it's very limited. Like in this case, it'll just be a metallic part of this here, which will be a little Aquila, because he probably just pulled that off as some captain or something, or guardsman commander or something, as a trophy. For him to have pulled it off somebody, they must have meant something to him or had some sort of... This is not often that I will put a metallic thing on there. However, I feel like it was relevant. Here's a link I tried to... Okay, cool. Thank you, Atus. Thank you very much. Let's take a look in a new window. Jungar, looking good, man. Waiting on paint to get mine done. Nice. Ooh, that looks pretty sexy. I really like the base that you did there. And Lilith, oh wow, you did the eyes? Man, that is hard to do. Thank you very much, Aleski, for sharing. I like the purple hair on Lilith. I like how the hair is the same color as you use the hilt. That's excellent. Good use of a color, and then the same colors you're kind of using on Drazar. Excellent. Excellent. I really, really like it. Simple, striking. That's how you want models to really pop, which I like. Valerie, what are you sharing? You're painting some Dark Reapers. Nice. Oh, man. Dark Reapers, they're so scary. Very iconic. I like that you're going for the classic look as well. Well, Drazar and the Coven custom attachments are two best things for us from Phoenix Rising, I guess, and the plastic incubi. Yes, plastic incubi are pretty snazzy. I got a couple sitting right here waiting to get painted. So yes, I would agree with that statement. Giggity, giggity. Did I want to use this brush? I don't think. I think I need to use a small one. That's literally what I was talking about, keeping the palette simple and striking. Your Drazar and your Lilith, Heike, just show off like what you can do without making it too busy, where it's just simple, straightforward, don't have to overcomplicate it, and use the same colors in your palette in different ways on the model to keep the palette down, like the number of palette colors down. You know, even I'm using a few too many colors in that sense. Cool. Boom. There we go. Gives it like the two little bits. And this Balthazar goal is actually really cool. Still haven't forgiven them for not giving anything nice to Cabals. Well, that's true. You know, but I'm just happy that we have Cabals, right? I like Flayed Skull and Red Grief. This seems a bit of inspiration for both. Yes, that's a great little inspiration there. Drazar's pose is so bad. Kind of sad he's... Yeah, but it's literally right out of the Codex artwork, right? When he's like twirling with his swords. It looks really cool in the artwork, right? Oh my goodness. Not a fan of the necklace, sword, grip, and plume. I guess just buy him, convert him. Yeah, you can convert anything you want. That's the cool thing about this game. Literally, you can make it your own. Zach says, I find it crazy how good something can look with only 3 to 4 colors. 100%. Carlos Garcia, all my Cabalites. Nice. Fair enough. Between Flayed Skull and Black Heart for Vect, they're still fairly well, though. Yeah, exactly. There are lots of different options. You just have to gotta keep an open mind, you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, there are lots of things that you can do to really help with that. Okay, so I'm going to use a Nuln Oil. Should I use a Nuln Oil or a Agrax? You know, I'm going to use an Agrax first and kind of do the center there to give it like a bit of a dirty feel, but this is a gloss, so it's going to give it a little bit of a shine. Something I like about the Agrax Earthshade Gloss is that it tends to flow very nicely. It's very light flow shade. That's just really going to make the there you go. So it's very subtle, but you can see here, just putting a little bit of wash in there, it's kind of changed the whole tone of the base here. Just gives it a bit of a special color, essentially. I love washes. They might be GW propaganda. Yeah, it doesn't show the link on YouTube, Carlos. If you go to the Twitch feed, then you can see it definitely on there. That's not an issue. So I'm using currently the Citadel Agrax Earthshade Gloss, which is a shade that I've enjoyed using on and off sparingly. Nothing crazy, but it's designed like it flows really nicely, which is why I'm using it, and it's going to give it a nice glossy finish. Because then I'm probably going to be doing another shade for the rest of the this is just to kind of define the writing, right? That's kind of what I'm using it for, just to define the writing. So it gives it like a, as you can see there, gives it like a nice defined finish on the writing. And it's not designed to be like anything super fancy. It's just there to bring out a bit of the color. Cool. That's literally how simple it was going to be. When I got the Drukhari from a friend, he had all Incubi and Resin all missing half their blades. He said it happens. Yes, it does. Sadly, the whole fine cast sets left a bit to be desired in a lot of cases. However, GW customer service, though, is excellent. So if you ever have a model that's miscast or missing something or whatever, it's very, like, they will send you replacements, no questions asked. Garbanzo Bean Donut says, I just saw some of Louise Sugden's stuff on Insta. She did some rainbow Zinch minis that were amazing. Too many colors isn't a thing in that context. That is also correct. Once I saw a 3D printed version of Drazar with a 1-1 equivalent to the dynamic output, love that. That sounds cool. Do you have a link to it? Thaumerge, done entirely with contrast and metallics. That's pretty true. Karkozgi also sharing off some stuff. Let's take a look at what Karkozgi is showing off. Oh no! I almost closed everything up. Okay. Ooh, very nice. I like the pink and the red. Like, that's a really cool, very earthy look to it. That's really neat. I like it a lot. Thanks you for sharing. All contrast and metallics. What are you showing with us now? Some of these are really neat. You guys should check these out. Oh, very nice. Well, yeah, that's really cool. All your Kabalites, I like it. Found the picture. Nice. Okay, I love it. Oh, that's sexy. I like that picture. That looks like a cool Drazar. Amazing. Plus the color scheme's excellent. Okay, so now that we've done a bit of the wash there, just to kind of give it, you know, kind of make sure that the color sort of blends in, we'll let the wash dry. You know, we've basically blocked out most of the colors. So there's nothing on this model that hasn't been touched on other than like the grip and stuff. So we're going to get the grip and whatnot. I'm pretty sure we're going to, should I keep it red? You know what? I might actually do the grips red as well. I like that idea. Okay. Ah, yeah. Almost put. Hey, Shadizzo, how's it going? Things are going well here. Thank you. You know, staying alive, considering like trying to stay sane with everything that's going on. You know, the daily streams that we've been doing have kept me sort of like in the zone and connected with all you folks out there. So, thanks to that, staying sane. Yeah, the pink Necrons with flowers. Yep, I remember those. Those guys were great. Those were the pink Necrons from is it Aaron? Who one of the competitive players like basically has those as his like main army, right? The Hello Kitty Necrons or whatever. He was in Vegas one year. There we go. Okay, I like that. Using the same color that I can turn it into more of like a brown. Here's my Kronos and Talos. Ooh, very cool. Now I'm excited to see this. It's nice to see all these cool Dark Eldar, Drukhari models. Ooh, very nice. Really like the red. The bases look excellent. That skin tone's great, and the red is just really good too. That is excellent. Thank you very much for sharing on those. If Alpharius is still on, are you going to be getting your stream up and running soon, Monsieur? Because if you are getting your stream up and ready soon, we will start getting ready to transition over to you, where you will have the opportunity So something I forgot to do is these little basically hair clip things for his giant headdress. So I make sure they're the same that I've been doing for all the clips and things. Give it the same, make sure that we stay consistent with that color scheme that we've been building. Make sure that cool. Alfarius, most definitely, just making some tea. Oh yeah, you can have 10, 15 minutes, of course. Just let me know when it's all set. And here are my Harlequins. Ooh, I love it. I love inspiration like this. I love looking at cool, inspiring units. Harlequins are one of those units. Nice. I love the green, the purple. It's just like simple yet super effective. I love it. Okay, so now that we start with that, so what we've done today in retrospect is we kind of changed the color of all the tassels and stuff to a gray instead of a green. So I feel it's going to work better with the other colors on the model. We've kept the red. We've kind of added the red in a couple of different spots to kind of break up the model. We put a wash on the base to kind of make the lettering on the runes of the Eldar runes sort of like shine and pop out a little bit, which is good. And then we've also got some pink on the eyes as well, or some purple on the eyes and the little drug dispensers, as well as doing all the little straps in XV88 so that all the straps are the exact same color all over the model, as well as the wrist, the ankle band things, and the things that hold a lot of that in place. And for some reason, that, I don't know why that's there, but that got red on there. Interesting. Don't know how I touched red on there, but I'll have to buy a small force Harlequin someday. Such lovely sculpts. Yeah, the Harlequins themselves are really cool sculpts. Like, personally, I like them a lot. I think Harlequins are one of those units that are can be, you know, underestimated when it comes to the models themselves and, you know, who they are and where they come from. And I find that they just look really cool when they're done properly, which is awesome. So right now I'm using a really crappy big brush because I don't want to waste any of the paint that's on there. So it's time to just go ahead and give it another coat. A lot of this stuff just is the edges, so you don't need to have like a fancy brush. You just need to put paint on it, which is what I like to say. Hashtag just put paint on it, folks. That is literally the motto that we live by. So if you're new to this channel, make sure you hashtag just put paint on it. Aha! I love doing little things like that because then I realize that I've missed things and I'm like, yes. Scar, are you ever going to break out your Harlequins? Yeah, every once in a while, Shidizo. You know, I've got a little force of them. I've just been really focusing on the Drukhari as of late. Yeah, I might add in some allied Harlequins here and there. I'm currently working to get the Sisters of Battle up and ready so I can do some stuff with the Sisters of Battle, because I feel like Sisters of Battle are very similar to the Dark Eldar, just in a more like in terms of play style. They're very Dark Eldar-ish in that sense of like the way that you have to build an army and play it on the tabletop. Ooh. So I'd forgotten to kind of clip that little piece right there, which is the little clip that holds that clip in place. So I'm glad that I redid that so I could notice it while I'm in the mood of doing it all. There we go. Look at that. Excellent. Drazar coming along. I like it. All 6 of the Harlequins look good. I would love to hashtag just put paint on it of being a new dad, pushing out 1,400 Chromebooks for students to take home. Shadizo has no time. Hey, you know, being a teacher in this time and trying to get the kids to do what they're supposed to do, kudos goes out to all the teachers out there. Thank you for all the hard work you're doing. Scary, what is your opinion on Army Painter paints? I really enjoyed the Army Painter paints. Like, they gave me a whole set in Adepticon, not Adepticon, Vegas, not this year, but last year, and I've literally been using those paints for 2 years, and I like them. They're good. Some of them are a little watery when they go on, so you have to like put multiple coats, like the yellows I find and the greens. But like the blues, the whites, the browns, the grays, like they're excellent. I really like them. The reds are really good too. And then the metallics have been fantastic, and their washes, like their soft tone wash is like probably one of my favorite washes, as well as their I haven't really used the dark tone, but their washes are excellent. Like their shades, amazing. I cannot say more good things about their shades. I like their shades a lot. Okay, so then we've got Drazar. So as you can see, the model's coming along nicely. You know, we've got the base, which I kind of started with a little bit there. You know, something that works really well is, you know, I'm going to be using a couple of tips and tricks that I learned from painting the base of the... I use a lot of Army Painter Pure Red from my Dark Eldar from the previous links and washes. Nice. Like, I like them. I think they're good, you know. So now I'm using Army Green. The reason I'm going to use Army Green is I'm literally just going to be doing a little bit of kind of what I learned to do while I was doing the Citadel book, the Citadel board that I painted the board, like the big board. And that's just kind of adding a little bit of extra color to the gray to kind of break up the monotony of the gray. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could just be a little tiny bit on there, and that's it. That's all it takes. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, and then when you do a dry brush, it just works really well. That's it. You just want to make sure it doesn't overpower the gray. There's another color that we use for that too. Oh yeah, there was like an oak red or something that we used. Which one was it? I don't remember which one it was. It was like a reddish brown color. Fur brown. I think it was fur brown. Man, I'm painted. Has you tried the color shift metallic paints from Green Stuff World? I haven't yet. I've seen them used. I feel like, at least in my like experience, they would have very limited use for like what I want to do, like for like the armies that I paint or whatever. Like, you know, they would definitely not be like the most, you know, used model like paint stuffs or whatever. There we go, perfect. Got a little bit of this fur brown down. Jukebox now playing, Valerie? Well, I've got it on me because we're doing the stream to be uploaded to YouTube. We have to keep the music down. So I'll be doing the full jukebox tomorrow. So you can definitely join in on the jukebox if you want to support the channel with some bits donations and get the jukebox going. Tomorrow we'll have the full-fledged jukebox. So for now, if anybody wants to support the channel, you can subscribe here on Twitch, like, share the video, go onto Patreon and support the channel via Patreon. You know, I appreciate any and all support that you guys would like, that you folks would like to give to the channel without anything. Like, I appreciate every little bit of support. How did you go with the DBA Roman Army? Have I finished it? No, it's almost finished. It's in the process of being finished. I have not finished it yet. It still needs a little bit of work. Not any of the Eldari factions. Which other Xeno faction would you collect and play, and why? Well, I've said that I would play Tyranids if I could. Tyranids and Gene Stealer Cult. Why? Because I just feel like that style of gameplay would suit me very, very well. I just love the idea of running around, just being really annoying, essentially. You know, I'm a huge fan of playing a game that sort of like forces your opponent to think outside of the box and to like, you know, have to react and just constantly be on the move and stuff like that. And I feel that Tyranids and Gene Stealer Cults have the ability to do that really, really well. So that's the kind of army that I would definitely play, would be that style of army as well. Which army would you play if you could play a Xenos army of any kind? You know, what Xenos army would you play that's not Eldar or Dark Eldar? Unless you already play one. Another close second would actually be Orcs, because I feel like Orcs would just be fun to collect and paint and play with. And I feel like I would just have a lot of fun playing Orcs and just converting and like just playing, like just being able to play and not really worry about like it would just be a very light-hearted approach to gaming. And that's what I love about Orcs. At least that's how I would approach Orcs. I'd definitely be one of those fluffy Orc players that would have like one of every unit and they'd all be like super unique, and yeah, I'd totally be a fluff bunny Orc player for sure. You know, get all my competitive game out when I'm playing the Eldari and then just go and have some fun playing random Orc shit. Right? GSC, nice. Got a new phone, took some pictures of my mini, says Red Badger. Kind of disheartening how well my iris can be seen in 48 megapixels. Well, that happens. That's what I found too, though. I'm going to try and see if my Banshees will look with metallic blue hair. Ooh, metallic blue hair. That sounds excellent for a bunch of Howling Banshees. It sounds very... I did the red hair on the Banshees that I painted for TV Robbie, which is one of the projects that we did a couple of weeks ago, a month ago now, I think, on the channel. Another cool thing about redoing some of the basing and stuff is you can kind of cover up some of the mistakes that you made. You know, I like doing the base as I'm doing the model, just because a lot of the time some of the colors on the base will complement or sort of change the way that some of the colors on the actual model look. So it's a little, I find it's important to kind of take a look at how that looks. Cool. Have you posted that on Reddit or in a Twitch chat before? Seems familiar. Love your paint job. My conversion homunculus. That sounds exciting. My homunculi. Ooh, cool. I like it. I like the liquefier gun. That's a cool conversion. That looks cool. He's like doing a karate kick. Okay. So Drazar's base and stuff's coming along nicely. We're keeping it nice and simple. Just putting paint on it, slowly working on it as we go. Hope you guys have been following along kind of how Drazar looks. But here we go. Let's take a look at him here. I'll spin him around. If you have any questions on how we've been working on him and stuff, let me know. But I hope that you guys and girls enjoy seeing Drazar in all his glory getting painted. Bam, bam, bam. There we go. Something like this. By the way, how do you paint the sails on Raiders and Ravagers? Me? With a brush. It's a pain. I still haven't quite figured out how to make the color on the Raiders and Ravagers sort of come out for that. So Yeah, go ahead, Alfarius. You start going live, buddy. It's nice. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so that was part 2 on YouTube, but part 3 in general of me painting Drazar. So you've done basically 2 days worth of details and just kind of being it. And then next is what we're going to do is we're going to start highlighting the whole model. So stick around. We'll be going down to raid Alfarius' channel. I'm really excited. He's already gone live. So let's go raid Alfarius. Other than that, if you've tuned in on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. If you tuned in on Twitch, we'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Thursday music and painting for Isolation Station number 25. That's right, 25 days of isolation. If you like this video, click that like button, put a comment down below, and let's share it. Let's get this video out there to get more people involved, because I love seeing everything that people are working on. Let's get that inspiration to the masses. If you'd like to support the channel, consider clicking the Patreon link and or just telling me how much you love me. Okay, folks, let's raid Alfarius. And other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. I have been Skari, your grateful host, and this has been Just Put Paint on It. Bye, everybody. Let's do some raiding. No problem. Insane, but happy. Good. I'm glad you're insane, but happy. Red Badger, thank you for coming in. Atu, thank you for coming in. Karoski, thank you for coming in. Garbanzo Bean Donut, thank you for coming by. Djibouti, Heiko, Shadizzo, all you folks, you guys are awesome. Shout outs to all of you for coming by. Thank you very much. S00N tier, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are all awesome. And let's head on out to the next one. Bye, everybody. Ooh, did I get the wrong one? Is that it? No. This is it here. No, this is the one I want for some reason. Yeah. Oh, no, this is the one I want. Yeah, okay. Boom. No, this one. Haha! I found it. For some reason, my thing was being so silly. Didn't really understand what was going on. Oh, come on. Silly thing.